Hi guys, welcome back to I Will Wander. It feels like it's been a while. There's been some pretty dramatic changes in my life in some ways. That little car you may have seen in the background in some of the videos, my little putt-putt Betsy, she is no more. Betsy and I got into an accident. No injuries thankfully, but the car's toast. She's ghost. She's done. I love that little car. Oh my god, I love my car. But I'll get another one, not the end of the world. The important thing is there's no injuries. My employment circumstances have changed radically as well. I am pleased to say there was a bit of a stretch where it wasn't looking good there that way. I don't make a living off this at this point. I have to subsidize my income, like everyone, pretty much. So I'm currently living and working in a little town. Sorry, the wind picked up, so this is probably no fun for you at the moment. Living and working in a little town called Princeton. I just noticed something. You hear that sound? That's birch. You know my thing for birch. You can hear them. Gorgeous. Gorgeous tree. I'm in a little town called Coalmont. C-O-A-L, coal, like the natural resource. We're not supposed to use anymore. Mont, M-O-N-T. And it's a trippy little place, as I'm going to show you. It really is. It's fascinating. So this is your first visual. As you come into the town, I'm going to try and get it out of the sun here. There's a tree with, yeah, you got that. Cans of various alcoholic and, I guess, cola beverages hanging. That's the first artwork visual you're presented with. And our lovely friend here, enjoying a long weekend in Colemont. I thought there might be an individual in duress because it's currently 40 degrees Celsius here. You don't want to be laying out in the sun for too long. It's just like being in the cold, but that is a I don't know, some kind of artistic presentation. But it's Coalmont is what it is, and there's a lot more to it. Over here, right there, we've got the Coalmont General Store, and that way is the sort of main area of this fascinating tiny little community. And I hear there is some supernatural to be discussed and explored. So let's go have a look at that. And just had to get one more quick little visual of the artistic expression that greets you upon arrival in Coalmont while traveling from Princeton along that amazing road you take to get here. He's all right. Okay, so we're basically at ground zero for Coalmont. We're right at the main corner, or one of them anyway. And this very old structure was the Coalmont Meat Market. Looks like it's going to be changed into something else. And I don't know if you can see it, but that person is talking about Fears 2022. We cross the street visually, and then we get to the Coalmont Hotel. And a coworker who knows this town was telling me that there's a lot of haunting circumstances. And if I'm being honest, I can tell you I can feel it. There's a lot going on in this place. Not the really bad scenario, like I was getting, God, I hope I don't see anything really creepy when I watch this video after in one of those windows, but you tell me if you're seeing anything really weird in one of the windows. It's supposed to be condemned. This has got a door on it. Not sure what that's about. And I don't know, who knows, maybe there is someone staying there. I don't think there is, though. I don't think there's anyone there. It's, in all seriousness, it's an incredible historic building. Got a lot of history to it. You know it does in this former gold mining town. I get the feeling this town is going to be entirely gentrified, and it'll be organic cafes and yoga studios before you know it. And there is some serious supernatural coming off this place. But again, not a bad vibe like I was getting on that road back to Maple Lake. Remember that old house I saw back there? That was not the same. This is just deceased, shall we say. Oh, what's that looking out of that window? Right there. What's that now? Can you see it? Still working on that horror script, by the way. And I'd love to know what the hell that is looking back at us. Just messing with ya. So there's the former Coalmont meat market from a little further away. It's got the Old West frontage on the front there. And the original structure. It's a neat spot. There actually is something looking out. There's a little puppy on that thing. You probably can't see him. He's having the eye there. I love looking at these things. This is the Coalmont Community Message Board. And we've got contracting, carpenter, rideshare, septic, tree services, search and rescue. What's this guy? He's a realtor. And salt of the earth, excavator, looks like there. Real people doing real things. There's a pretty real estate agent as well. And sump and pump service. This is the Coalmont message board. And this is the Coalmont Hotel. They're in there. Ooh, they're in there. They're saying hello right now. Didn't expect this from this visit. It's actually my coworker who was explaining that this place has this history. So, let's have a look inside. Okay, so some interesting developments. I just met a guy who lives in this Coalmont Hotel. I'm right beside the place. I was looking in the front window. It's not a hotel. Legally it's a private residence. And the guy came out and said hello. We scared the hell out of each other. Very nice man. We sat on the front porch and chatted for a really long time. And he gave me more insights into this town, and it's absolutely fascinating. There's a graveyard just up this way, I guess. I don't know. I've never been here before, really. That we're going to go check out. And he was telling me about more of the history of the town. And there is a Heidi, he told me her name. There's a really famous madam who was operating in this town. Just up that way. She had a place just up that way. I'll try and find as much as I can about all this stuff. We may have to do a few videos on this. And in around 1920, she was the big madam. This was a mining community. So you had all these guys probably making a lot of money. And not a lot of companionship options. So someone took advantage of that. And oldest business in history, whatever that phrase is about that aspect of things. She got the brothel going, this woman, and it was an all cash, almost all cash, some gold payment for the various business transactions. And she was murdered, and all the money and all the gold was taken, and not her brothel, but her residence establishment was burned to the ground just up that way. This famous madam that I'm going to get the name of again. The guy told me, but I can't remember. So I'll get that. And we'll keep exploring Coalmont, this fascinating, trippy little town. By the way, this guy doesn't believe in the supernatural, okay? But he has had experiences that don't make sense in that building. So it might not be entirely my imagination, what I'm sensing coming from there. I don't get a bad vibe feel off them. There are several of them in there. And they're looking at me right now. It's all good, though. We're all good. Not getting anything that would potentially be a concern. Not usually a concern for me, anyway. That way, because I'm kind of the one who comes knocking on the door in some regards. I'm kidding. I'm messing with you. Let's go up the road and look at the grave of a famous brothel owner, because that's what we do on our time off on this channel. Not sure how much of this you'll pick up in the direct sunlight, but the hotel I was just at is there in the distance in that direct sun. I don't think you're really going to get any of it. And I was told that the ghost of Heidi walks the streets of this town on occasion, and if we go over here, I could swear that's her on the left. There's the ghost of Heidi, the dead brothel owner. Or not, that's just some old lady local. But yeah, there's a lot going on in this town. This is going to take a couple of visits, I think, to cover all this for sure. You get a lot of these sort of clever signage scenarios. There's a motorcycle coming through here, I'll have to be quick. Anyway, don't drive through it like hell. So, main town area there. And then we're gonna go across this bridge, and I believe Coalmont Bridge it's called. I believe to the left, in search of this historic graveyard up this way. Hi guys, I'm back home after a work stint that I'm doing in the area of British Columbia that I discuss in this video. Wanted to clarify something. The name of the woman that I'm going to be discussing in much greater detail is Hattie McBride. I'm doing laundry at the moment, so apologies for the horrendous audio circumstances going on. And not the most fascinating background. Apartment going on there. I'm absolutely exhausted. I don't know if you've noticed. And oh look, we've got a little pizza hanging out there. So the name of this woman that I discussed earlier in the video is Hattie McBride, not Heidi McBride, and she's an incredibly fascinating character. I'm going to be giving her a lot more energy in the future, a lot more research. And I figured out a few things about this young woman very quickly, knowing what I know about people and behavior and circumstance patterns and like this from all the years of cab driving I did. There's insight there as far as people and dynamics go, and I know what happened to Hattie McBride. I'll touch on that later before the next video finishes. I'll touch on what I'm talking about here. So this is my latest painting, by the way. That's called Get It, and I really like that one. There's a couple more on the wall there, and there's a few more there with my cheapy skis. So what I wanted to touch on before this video signed off was this sensitivity that I claim to have for spiritual circumstances. You can think whatever you want about that, but I'll tell you what happened in Coalmont while I was there. The guy, as I mentioned, came out of Coalmont Hotel and very graciously donated a lot of his time to sit down with me on the front porch and chat. And we chatted about the history of the area, the history of the hotel. He introduced me to Hattie McBride and that whole thing that kind of feels life-changing almost, because I'm absolutely fixated on this woman. And while I was sitting there, I was talking about the supernatural element that is purported to be at work in the building. And while sitting there, I was saying, yeah, I'm getting 5 or 6 of these things. I kind of went, 6, I'm getting 6. And I'm not getting a malicious thing at all. I'm not getting any bad intent or energy whatsoever. And he kind of stopped and looked at me, and he pointed out that they had a spiritualist, whatever you call these people, who openly devote a lot of their time and energy towards pursuing and identifying and engaging these entities. And she had stayed at the Coalmont Hotel, and she had reported 6 of them as well. And she didn't sleep at all, because they were all talking to her, because they were aware of the fact that she was receptive to them. So she had 6 people basically who weren't of this realm entirely anymore talking to her. But yeah, I nailed the number. I knew exactly how many there were. While sitting on the front porch, I was talking to him, and I was sitting there telling him what I'm getting coming from the building, and he kind of went, yeah, the last woman that was here said that too, 6. So, coincidence, who knows? Doubt it. I doubt it. I think there are sensitivities that some have, and I would regard it as a blessing for reasons that I probably shouldn't go into, because I'm not in the zone of my horror script right now. I'm actually incredibly exhausted after 10 days, or not quite a 10 day, but a stint at the job in the area of Coalmont. Anyway, I wanted to talk about that. I wanted to clarify the name of this incredibly fascinating woman, Hattie McBride, that we're going to look into much more closely. And I wanted to also clarify the spirituality aspect of the Coalmont Hotel, that as far as I and another woman who calls herself spiritualist or something, I don't know. I don't identify as any of that stuff. I just know that I'm sensitive, and there are 6 of them in there, and they're not harmful. How do I put that in there? Thanks for watching, guys. If you haven't already, if you could take a moment to like and subscribe, I'd really appreciate that. And stay tuned for the next video, all about Hattie McBride, and we go visit her gravesite. Actually, it's a neat little adventure.